I'd like to welcome all you folks out tonight, and I'd like to extend, first of all, my thanks to Tootie Hall for arranging the Zoom meeting. She does real well at it, and thank
Yay.
God, girl. And our moderator tonight is going to be the one and only Miss D, Donnie's Hardy, casting director. She is going to host the show. She knows about acting, obviously. She's going to introduce our three agents or have them introduce themselves, and she's going to moderate. Thank you, Tootie. Thank you, agents. Donnies, let us have your magic.
Okay, thank you everybody and welcome to the Network Austin Mixer. And tonight we're very, very fortunate to have three extraordinary talent agents, owners of agencies. And this is alphabetical according to agency name. First and foremost, we have Jason Wassner, who is the managing partner of Acclaimed Talent. Next, we have Heather Collier, who is the owner of Collier Talent. And finally, we have Claudia Ramon, who is the owner of Condra Artista. So what I'd like to do is start with Jason. Each of the agents are going to spend a few minutes introducing themselves and their agencies so that you know who you're talking to. So we're going to start with Jason.
Okay, so I have like stage fright even now, so try to forgive me. I own Acclaimed Talent. We are a full service talent agency covering the Southeast United States. We represent actors, models, VO talent, and public speakers. Since it had been a very long time since I've actually done one of these events, I'm going to hijack it for a couple of minutes and talk to you guys about something else. We are, regardless of whether we are actors, writers, or directors, storytellers beyond all things. Going back to before man had developed writing, storytelling and oral traditions preserved our history, culture, ethics, and so on for over 10,000 years. For example, the Aborigines people have enjoyed basically an unbroken oral tradition going back 30,000 plus years, pretty much undisturbed until the British arrived. The reason I bring this up is because as storytellers, the most important thing that we should be pushing right now is diversity. It is the highest priority in terms of filmmakers. This isn't politics and it isn't the business of propaganda. Well, it sort of is sometimes, but generally not. People need to see themselves represented as equal humans with valued pasts and rich histories, just like many of us enjoy now. They need to have the opportunity to audition for lead roles and roles of substance and treat it as potential box office draws. Jerry Bruckheimer recently mentioned that when they were producing Bad Boys, they couldn't get most producers on board because they said nobody would go and see two black leads.
Wow.
So what I think we can draw from that is that the assumption of racism and bigotry often lead to racism and bigotry in our world. The flip side of this equation is countless examples of tyrants and fascists burning books and plays, dehumanizing people by stealing their language and their culture, depicting folks as subhuman, and in almost all cases, suppressing artists and storytellers and theater people. We have thousands of years of examples to work from. We need to understand that suppression is precisely because we as storytellers have always had power. And that power can affect massive change. And the bottom line is, as storytellers, we need to understand that the stories, the most powerful ones, help define how we see ourselves as humans and which is a state that we all share. Do you wish to see yourself through a lens of hatred and derision, or one of understanding? Do you want to understand yourself more tomorrow than you did today or yesterday? The secrets of our behavior, the words and feelings that we can't articulate or don't have the language for, the inclinations we have and don't understand, all of these mysteries are hiding in the experiences, histories, and traditions of underrepresented people. They are us. So when you sit in front of your mirror as an artist going forward, instead of focusing on the I am, I highly suggest you think about the we are, and the way to understand those who may be different, but are like you, artists, storytellers, people, and whose experiences are valid, interesting, and enlightening as any that we may have ever experienced. After all, most roles we write and most characters we play tend to be of the human variety, and it is the humanity that viewers tend to connect with. So it can only make us better at our jobs, understanding more of these darn human creatures and all of their idiosyncrasies and all the varieties they come in. This, I think, is maybe more important than me just telling you that more stories equals more projects, equals more jobs for everyone. But that is true as well. Now I'll put my soapbox away and let you lather up for the rest. Cheers.
Wow. You know, Jason, thank you very much for your comments, because what you're pointing out is so extraordinarily true. And as a casting director, I am seeing more and more opportunities for all people to participate in the casting process. And I'm seeing more and more realities, such as an actual wheelchair-bound person being allowed to audition for a person who happens to be in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair.
Yeah, I know. And many years ago, I won an award from SAG, actually from AFTRA, for casting reality. And it makes, to this day, it makes me extraordinarily proud, because that was about 20 some odd years ago, and I got an award for it then. So it's damn well about time that there is no longer color, there is no longer whatever. It
Amen.
is just who can do the job.
We know, we saw like Sam Elliott recently had his little tirade about life of the dog or whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the backbone of his argument was accuracy, that there was a lack of accuracy in what they were doing. The thing is that Sam has never been in an accurate Western. No, we don't make accurate Westerns. They're samurai films. It's Akira Kurosawa stuff. There are no Westerns where 1/3 of the cowboys are black. There are no Westerns where you have a prominently featured Asian railroad workers, because the railroad workers here were from China. They don't exist. So his idea that, oh no, it's because I have a problem with it because they shot it in New Zealand, or I have a problem with it because they were gay. That wasn't the deal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you make some really valid points, and I personally really appreciate what you've said. And having done a lot of work with the Native American community when I was casting in Los Angeles, I particularly appreciate it, because they would take Mexicans or people of Mexican descent or Americans and put paint on them, and it was false. It was totally false. So I salute you for your comments, and thank you very much. Next, we have Heather Collier, and Heather is the owner of Collier Talent. And take it away, Heather.
Oh my gosh, that's I'm not nearly as eloquent as Jason. I don't have any prepared remarks, or but that was very well said, Jason. So thank you for that, because I think you said it better than I certainly ever could. I'm Heather Collier. I own Collier Talent Agency. You know that now. It's very weird to do this via Zoom, but it's so great to see people's faces. I feel like I'm coming out of a cocoon. South by Southwest was sort of my foray back into the real world, and hugging people and seeing my actors face to face was just was a terrific experience. So while I completely appreciate the technology that has kept us connected and kept us working over the last 2 years, I really do miss seeing people in person.
Yes.
So that's as eloquent as I'm going to get on that. So I moved to Austin. You're not going to believe this. Well, Donnice won't believe it because she was one of the first people I met when I got here. It'll be 18 years ago in May. I know. I'm not that old. I don't understand how it's possible. But it's the truth. And I then opened Collier Talent in September of 2004. Our mission has always been to represent, to be a boutique agency that represents a smaller client list that focuses on actors. We don't represent models. We represent actors who can model. The first sort of litmus test for us when we receive a submission is to our first question is, can this person act? Are we responding to them in terms of where they are in terms of their art and their performance? So during the pandemic, that was a lot of looking at demos, looking at if we saw a headshot and we saw a resume with a tremendous amount of credits, we would follow up and ask for demo. We would then, if there was outdated demo, we would then ask an actor to go on tape with us for an audition scene. In the before times, it was a lot of going to theater, and we're hoping to be emerging again from that sort of cocoon and being able to be in a theater again. But it's extremely important for us to see people's work. I say us, even though it's just me sitting here. I work as a team. I have Jessica Sloan, who's been with me for almost 16 of those 18 years. She is terrific. She started as an intern and now helps me run the agency. She's also in charge of our voiceover department. I have Laura Maxwell Scott, who joined us 12 years ago. Again, so hard to believe. And she is in charge of our young adult division. But as we tell people, we are a team. When we represent an actor, we don't necessarily have a point person. We are representing a performer as a team. So it feels very strange to be talking to you without them because they are so much a part of the fabric of Collier and what we're about. And so, like I said, we really try to keep our client list at a manageable level. The first hurdle is, okay, do we respond to this person's talent? And that could be someone who is just coming out of school, or who is in an acting class and has, very few credits, but it's just, there's something there that we are responding to, someone who has a lot of resume. It just has to do with what we respond to. It has nothing to do with you as a performer and your talent.
Dude,
It has to do with our response to your talent. You want on your team people who are excited about you, people who understand who you are as an artist, and who are able to help. Our job is sales, and who to a very large degree, who is able to be enthusiastic and sell you to the casting director. That does not mean that your journey ends with a "you're not right for us right now." That means you're not right for us right now. We may have other people on our roster who are very similar to you. We may feel like you need a little more training, or we're just not quite there yet. So I never want people to feel like this is our response is a comment about who they are as artists and performers. It has to, again, it's the boyfriend, it's the old breakup line. It's not you, it's me. But it's truly, I have to tell you, because again, we've passed on people who have gone on and been incredibly successful. They're at that moment in time, it was not jiving with it wasn't resonating with what we either were looking for or where we were in our journey as agents. So I feel like it's very important to say that, and that if it's not, I am thrilled when someone gets representation. It doesn't have to be through our agency. And so I don't want people to get discouraged. You can't in this business. If it's something that you're passionate about, and you as an artist, then it's something that you have to, it's like a dog with a bone. You just have to stick with it. That's basically, I guess, my little shtick. I'm sure I want to encourage you, when the Q&A opens, for you to please ask questions. There really are I don't think, any stupid questions. All right, maybe there are, but Donise will probably she'll contradict me on that. She'll be like, "No, it's a dumb question." But I again, I feel like this is an opportunity for you to use all three of us as a resource, and we might not all have the same answers to a question, and that's, I hope that we provide some different viewpoints and different perspectives on the business and what we see happening in Texas and beyond. And I'm going to shut up now.
Heather, one of the things that I tell all the people that who take my classes, is to visit the website of each agent, so that if you've already got 3 or 4 people who look like them, same ethnicity, same height, weight, same everything, don't bother, because you're already number 4. And I want you to be number 1 in the agency when you go out. So
I agree. I do agree with you. However, I sometimes think that people look, and they're just looking at the photo, and they're not really looking at the resume. You know what I mean? I might represent we actually had this conversation within our office. I can't believe I'm saying this on a recording, but okay. So if we have, some Latinx performers who are from 18 to 25, and you're like, oh my gosh, they are so heavy in that category. You're not looking at their work. You're not looking at their, at who they are, what their resume is like, what experience they're bringing to the table. So on the surface, it might be, wow, they're really heavy in that category, where I would argue each one of the performers that we have is so completely different
Right.
And just because they are, you know, all, you know, maybe young Latina women, that doesn't mean that they're all the same. So
Well, right, but don't you think that looking at that resume is extraordinarily important?
oh,
To
100%.
see their training and their background and
See
theater
where
and all
they
that.
are, exactly. And if we just don't happen to have demo on the website, though,
Right.
again, like, because somebody might play very differently than somebody else. So so yes, I agree with you, and I encourage actors to dig deeper and do more research to find out what, you know.
Well, I think it's important for everybody to do their due diligence before
Mhm.
they study with anybody, before they train with anybody, before they submit. And it's really the actor's responsibility to do that for themselves so that they know
Right.
what they're getting into. And
Absolutely.
thank you, Heather.
You're
And
welcome.
last but certainly not least, we have Claudia Ramon. And
Hello.
Claudia is the owner agent of Contra Artista. And Claudia, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And tell us about you and your agency.
Well, first I want to say, Jason for governor. Great job, Jason.
Yeah,
I feel like
I'll agree to that for sure.
That took us a different place, but yes, my name is Claudia. I'm with Condor Artista Model and Talent Agency. I am the third owner of the agency. The agency has been around since 1984. So we've been around quite a while here in Texas, representing talent across Texas and outside of Texas as well. I'm not quite sure where to start. Both representative talent agencies have said so much already, how we go about our daily business and dealings with seeking new talent and representing new talent. I will say for us, we get requests and submissions on a daily basis. I get calls, I get submissions through our website, we get emails. For us, I do really try my best to contact everybody. It's a lot of work, but I feel like if someone's reaching out, I do my best to acknowledge them, to maybe if they're not ready to join us, to give them some pointers, maybe to help them on their journey. But I do feel like everybody does have a journey. And if it's something that they're passionate about, I do feel like they're going to land in the right place. Whether that might not be with us, but just like Heather was talking about, it might not be the right time, right place, but they will get there if that's really their goal and their passion. So I do try to encourage everybody to keep working on their skills, to find different places where they can train, just to seek opportunities maybe that's around them locally, where they can maybe get something to build their resume up before they maybe go to an agency or come back to us. So that being said, we do represent talent of all ages, kind of at all levels. We do have character actors. We do have some talent that also are our models, but we don't necessarily have a modeling sector like we used to in the past. I think that was more when I was not around, when I was a baby. As far as representation, we do represent talent, like I said, here in Texas. And we do have some talent that have started with us that are outside of Texas as well, that we still represent, although they have agents elsewhere. I'm trying to think what else. I got lost. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked. What I like with our talent, we have really good communication. What we do is I have two assistants that help me. We did have another agent that was helping with us temporarily, although we've lost them, unfortunately. So I'm looking for somebody else. We are currently, with COVID, we did have, like everybody else experienced, that lull. And I'm so happy also to be back in person, talking to people, like Heather was saying, hugging. We had an event last week that I was actually my first time that I got out, that I met with people. because I have been in my own cocoon as well. So I really do enjoy and miss that. This is really with our agency, but what I like to do is I like to have events and mixers. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's
and
great.
So we actually have one planned, and I hope it goes well here in the next 2 weeks. Because like myself, everybody else is really just eager to get back. We are kind of a family agency, and we have a lot of talent that have been with us for many years. And so they miss it as well. I've had so many people reach out and just say they're really excited to just see everybody. So with that event, and this is might not really be what you're looking for. I'm sorry, apologize, Denise. But we are going to gather, and it's more of an information as well, kind of to help people navigate this new, not really new anymore, but still the self-tapes. We still have people that need help with that. So what I like to do, I spend a lot of my time, not only with all the agency parts of it, but helping our talent to try and do their best to get the best audition tapes in. So I do spend a lot of time, especially with my some of my talent that may not be as tech savvy. We do have some of those. So we do try our best to help everybody be on the same playing field for their auditions so that everybody is successful. We want to bring everybody up. As far as, I'm getting lost. I'm just talking. I apologize.
No,
Let me see.
let me ask you a question.
Sure.
The mixer that you're going to be having within the next 2 weeks, is that an in-person mixer? It sounds like it is.
It is an in-person mixer. Now, I'm still thinking about, that's a good idea. I'm still debating that. So we might have to do something like this if it comes to, you know, if people don't feel comfortable coming in.
Right. Well, it's always got to be about safety first. And
it does have to be about safety first. You're absolutely right about that. Because I've been like that the whole, however long we've been in this COVID. So that's definitely where we are. And we have talent on all levels, just like, you know, everywhere else where, you know, we have some people that are excited to get out, but again, like you said, that's correct. It's safety first. And as far as our talent and what we were talking about, diversity, like what you were saying, Denise, is we are seeing as well. There are a lot more breakdowns coming through where casting directors are seeking more diversified talent. And so we are, you know, always looking for expanding that realm of our agency. And again, across the board, we get submissions every day. So we're always really excited and happy to speak to, you know, anybody looking for representation. And we do always, of course, want someone who's ready to go. But again, like what Heather was talking about, speaking with somebody one-on-one, I have a good, you know, I can work with somebody, and if I feel like I can work with somebody, we'll certainly put a little bit more effort in to maybe speaking with them, helping them out to get started, seeing what we can do to promote anybody that we can.
Well, you know, that's really fantastic. And thank you very much for your comments.
Sure.
I want to start the meeting off with a question.
Mhm.
I honestly believe that casting directors are becoming obsolete. Because so many clients now are saying self-taped auditions. And as all of you know, I was casting a project last weekend that required, I think we ended up with 16 children, various ages, full ethnicity. And they were all asked to self-tape their audition. And it was simple. It was just, tell us your name, age, who's your favorite teacher, what grade are you in, what do you like to do for fun, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just very, very simple. And I got 90 tapes. And oh my God, I'm not there to say, do this, do that, help, to try and help. So I'd like all three of the agents to address the importance of self-taping nowadays, because it is pretty crucial.
Oh, it's
So, Jason, what do you tell your talent?
I tell them to try to think about it like you're a fly on the wall, and to approach the way, like a lot of what makes it hard with the self-taping is the instructions are sort of written as though the actor is directing themselves.
Right.
So I try to stress to them that the goal is to get certain key shots, and basically to follow, like to imagine what the director is trying to get for these different sections of their spot.
Right.
It's a really weird process because you're essentially trying to punch in individual shots for what is probably a 30-second spot, and it's maybe 1.5 seconds of you.
Right.
It's a really bizarre situation for talent. I know that it's confusing for people, but you kind of have to just put yourself in the position of the director, and at once try to match what you think that they want, and on the other side try to anticipate what might make that better or what they might follow, so that they pick you versus somebody else.
Okay, and
makes
Heather,
sense.
do you think that the casting directors need to give clearer instructions on walking in, walking out, standing, sitting, emotions? I mean, is it up to us to tell the actor what to do? What's going on?
I think it look, if there's any helpful notes, I think we're talking about, you know, two very different things too. We're talking about commercials, and then we're talking about film and television.
Right.
There is a real specificity to the commercial audition that is sometimes also like, look, if you were in a casting office, you wouldn't be producing this like little film that you want these poor actors to produce at home. And it's like, let's take a step back. It's like, okay, it's a car commercial. Be in your car and you're eating and you're drinking and you're driving. And if you could get in your own car and do that, and if you could film it and have it well lit, and it's like, no, that's not what we're doing here. Again, like you wouldn't have the benefit of all of that if they were stepping into Donice's casting office.
Right.
That's just ridiculous. You have to, you know, again, like you have to use your imagination to a certain point. And I think, and again, maybe it's not to our benefit, but what we really tell our actors is like, look, you can't second guess this. We don't, in our opinion, we don't know what the director is necessarily thinking. So you need to bring what makes you individual and special and do it the way you want to do it.
Bingo.
And then let everything sort of resonate from there.
That is so true.
And that's really how we feel for commercials. And to be honest, that's how we're feeling. Film and television, it is so challenging, and we get it. But we also, in fairness to us and to all the agents and to casting directors, I never want to give my actor a note on a film and television audition that is going to, unless it's something that's totally off the mark, I don't want to give the note, because that could be, I've been in the business long enough, I've watched enough auditions to know that sometimes the director picks people that I would not have picked, because I am not the director. So, and I have not had a conversation with the director or the producer on a particular project or the network. So I really, people are like, our actors are like, please give us feedback. And I'm like, look, I thought it was a great audition. I'd hire you, but that doesn't,
yeah, but you're not one of the suits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I want you to put a lot of preparation and a lot of thought into the audition that you are putting forward. If I think this is where being with an acting coach is so important, to have another set of eyes helping you. Your acting coach can do this with you and be like, nah, you know, you don't have to be in the same room to have another set of eyes on your performance. And I think that is more important now than ever, because we're in this self-taping black hole.
And it is a black hole.
And
Claudia?
I don't blame casting directors. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna shut up.
That's all right. That's all right. Go ahead, Heather.
I was like,
finish your
and honestly, people are like, you know, we're not getting feet. I'm like, you know, casting directors are being inundated with tapes. That you do not have time to sit there and make notes about every audition that you're looking at.
Bingo.
Nor do you then have time to then reach out to the representatives of the people who you just watched to say, great job, or would love to see this tape again with a redirect. You don't, I mean, let's live in reality here. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to see you unless they truly love you, know you, and are like, I know this person missed the mark, needs this note, it's going to make it. But if they don't know you, they're not going to give you the note.
You know,
and I don't blame them.
Jason,
no, it's too much.
Jason, one of the things that you bring up is about feedback. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is I used to have feedback pages for every agent to fill out the names of their talent. And I would grade the talent on professionalism, look, preparation, presentation, blah, blah, blah. And I sent that to all the agents so that they could know what I was seeing. Claudia, what do you think about the self-taping mess?
It is a mess. And
it's hard.
It is hard. And just for a quick note, I got one of those feedback notes from you, Denise, and it was wonderful. I love that. But you're right. I mean, there's no time to do that for right. Anybody. You know, for my talent, and a lot of people will call me and ask, what do they want? And like we're talking about, I think it's just bringing you. I mean, no one else can be you as a talent presenting yourself. So whatever that is, you know, really just bring that, show, what I tell all my talent is just show your personality, wherever that takes you, of course, following the direction as best as you can, because I've had some recently with no direction, just show us what you got. And that was very stressful.
Well, it really puts the talent at a terrible disadvantage.
It does.
And I'm always saying to people, follow the direction of the casting director or whoever sent this to you.
Right.
And then they show me a blank page and I'm going, oh,
right.
All right, let's open it up to the public. Who has questions for these fabulous 3 agents?
So if you have questions, make sure you go to your reactions button and just click your raised hand, and that'll keep everybody in order.
For the question of like what people are bringing to the table is extremely important. So you are going to be different from the other actors that are going to be here. So you do the best of what you can bring.
Right.
And don't worry about so much whether or not you're better or worse than anybody else, because that will not help you. You can learn from other people, but in the end, you can only be who you are. So you bring the power of what you are and give the casting director the option to show their client, this is a good option, and this is another good option. It's not you cannot satisfy everybody. So you have to find your niche, do what is good and right by yourself, and deliver that to them. Because if you try to satisfy everybody, you're going to end up being nothing. You're going to end up being
that's correct.
Indescribable in the midst of hundreds or thousands of auditions.
Well, you don't want to be like everybody else. You want to, like you said, stand out. And they see you and go, wow, I haven't seen this, they're
Yeah.
seeing all the same.
Exactly.
So
The thing that's unique in that situation is what makes you who you actually are.
mhm.
And we're constantly driven towards trying to be somebody else when that is the fallacy. That's the bullshit. That's what we sell you. That's what freaking commercials try to sell you on. Hey, everybody fit into this box. But the reality is what is attractive to us on the side where we're going through thousands of auditions is something that's individual, something that cannot be boiled down to some concept of what is beautiful and what is not. That's false.
Mhm.
It's just easier to sell a box of beautiful to people and to tell them, hey, this is all that there is that's important. When in fact, it's much broader than that. And any person can take on that role. It's like if any of you have seen Nine Perfect Strangers, Melissa McCarthy is a fantastic leading actress, and she is a romantic lead. But in almost no projects you ever see her treated that way because of her size. In Nine Perfect Strangers, they treat her exactly that way. It takes 15 seconds longer than, somebody who's conventionally beautiful to convince people that she is actually a romantic lead. And beyond that, every bit of convincing is done by her being, by her personality, by her humanity. The beauty's there. It's just not what we've been told is what is beautiful.
Okay, Jason, let us get to some of the questions
Sure.
because we don't have all that much time left. And so, Tootie, take it over. Tootie? Gary?
Okay, so we're gonna start with last name Sola.
Yes, right here. Well, first of all, I just want to say hello to all these familiar faces who I haven't seen in years. God, that's so weird. And of course,
Mhm.
Jason Lee, my agent. I wanted to ask, how common is it now for people to want to get into acting? Do you feel that there are even more submissions since everything is remote now? And I'll leave this question open to all the agents and Donnie's.
You want me to start?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I probably get twice as many submissions as I did 2 years ago.
Wow.
I'd be pretty sure. We're getting a ridiculous number of submissions. A lot of them are from people that are out of state, primarily from LA, who are not getting opportunities out there, but who are trying to get opportunities nationally.
Right.
Heather?
So it's a lot.
Heather,
Yeah,
what do you-
I think it's been really steady. I think
Mhm.
that, it's a combination of factors. It's people who believe that, again, like from out of state, as Jason just said, who feel like now because everything is via self-tape, that this is providing a great opportunity for them to work in different markets, which is it's true and not true all of the time. It's kind of true,
Yeah.
not really true. So there's some challenges. There's challenges with that. There's challenges with again, we can go into this. It's probably a different question, but like in terms of incentive, we're dealing with people here who are all living in Texas. So, this isn't something, but I think it has to do with the fact that during COVID, a lot of people were like, did a lot of like thinking introspectively and thinking about their lives and what they're doing and deciding, oh my gosh, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing. I want to be an actor, or there's been a lot of, I think we're all aware that there's been a lot of career changing and shifting during the time of the pandemic. So, but for us, I really feel like it's been, I mean, you would have thought during the very beginning of the pandemic, when there was literally no work, that it would have, people wouldn't
And
be
we all
seeking
thought we were going to go
representation.
broke.
That's
Like, I
right.
mean, you weren't really sure what was happening. But no, there were still people who were very much committed to their art and storytelling and wanting to become involved with the business and figuring out what that looks like in these very different times.
And
So,
Claudia, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, we've also as well, I feel like we've gotten so many more submissions, and just the flux of like both Heather and Jason were saying, people deciding what they want to do, or actors who could not participate as much because of work. And then with the COVID, we're able to work remotely. So, we just had a lot of changes with our talent, and then also with people seeking representation, kind of going through the same thing. So it's been very interesting. And we've had it's just been interesting. So it's a lot more submissions than I feel like before COVID.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Tootie, our next question is from
Max Chambers. Is that correct? How you pronounce your name?
Yes, correct. Hi, I am Max. I'm currently being repped by Jason. And my question is for all three of our lovely speakers, but this topic was specifically brought up by Claudia, talking about going out, building more experience, maybe with small scale projects locally, if you're a little light on your experience. So I wanted to ask you guys what the best resource you could recommend for finding that local work to build up your resume.
Well, I do have a lot of people that have reached out to me. They just find different projects. Are you talking about if you don't have no experience? I didn't hear that first part. I'm sorry.
They cut out for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll just restate my question really quickly. If you're light on the experience,
Okay.
obviously go out locally, find it. What is your guys' best resource for finding and getting that?
So there's a lot of student films. You could reach out to different schools in your area that you can get some, maybe some clips from some projects and student film projects. There are a lot of acting groups. I'm not sure where you're located, but you can join any of those acting groups. And there's always, I even look sometimes just to see, what's happening. There are always projects that you can participate in and be on set and maybe gain some experience in that respect.
Okay, and let's move on to Rachel McVeigh.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm also repped by the fabulous Jason.
Jason.
I know. He's so popular.
It's an abundance of riches.
This is the first time I've seen your face, Jason, so it's very
Goodness.
And I don't have a question. I just wanted to chime in on the whole self-tape bit, because as an actor, my perspective, I so appreciate self-tapes for safety first, for the just pure safety element of that. But also I have found I'm so much more creative, both in commercials and theatrical. I feel like I can be so creative with what I'm finding based on. And I do think it's a beautiful collaboration between what casting gives us in terms of directions, what the agent sees, and what we're bringing. And I absolutely love them. And I hope that they continue. Well, they will. But just so you know that some of us actors don't think it's a mess. We actually really love them. So.
Okay, thank you very much. And next we have, is it Dick?
Yes,
Zinendorf?
that's me. Yes, I'm also with Acclaim, and I had yes. Jason's fantastic. He's great. Now I had an epiphany during this meeting, right? When Denise, especially when you were talking about self-tapes, right? It reminded me about the time in Hollywood when we went from silent films to talkies. Okay, It was right. It's like a sea change, like a watershed moment, right?
Well, I wasn't there.
Right.
But I do remember it well.
No, neither was I, right? But shoot. But to get to and okay, and I also want to say that this mixer, I think, is crucial. I think it's critical for agents and actors to be getting together. I'm in Dallas, so if you guys do something in person, it's going to be a trek for me. I probably can't make it, but this is just critical, okay? Now, I do want to get serious a little bit and say I disagree with Rachel, okay? Because for me, I booked Prison Break I was working for a catering company, right? And I happened to cater to Mark Fincannon, who was casting it, all right? And basically I told him, hey, Mark, I'm an actor, right? I wouldn't have met him. If I had sent a self-tape in, I would have just been some chump, right? But I met him and he said, oh, you want a chance, big shot? Sure. And I booked it. Now, that was a long time ago, right? Prison Break was a long time ago. But I just want to say, I think that all of us together with the numbers that we have and with the experience that we have, that we can get more live auditions if we can. And if we can find directors that are willing to do it and casting, well, but most casting directors probably are directors that are willing to do it, then I support going back to the live auditions because that's where I can really
Well, we all do, trust me on that one. Thank you very much, Dick, for joining us from Dallas. And next is Tricky Jones, is that correct?
Oops, I'm that person. I was still on mute. Hi. Yes.
Hi.
I'm Tricky Jones. I'm also represented by Jason. Hi, Jason. This is the
Go
first time.
figure.
Yeah, Jason.
Everybody.
Yeah. Stacking the deck.
You're my best client. I'm sorry.
My question is so silly now, but I am a person who my glasses are like my brand. Like I wear them all the time. I've been a glasses person since I was like 12 years old, and I've always heard that you shouldn't wear them in your auditions and you should always let people see your face, but I feel like it's just so much part of my personality that I struggle with that sometimes. Of course, if the role doesn't call for glasses or doesn't make sense, then I wouldn't do it. But I've always heard just to never do it, and I just wonder how y'all felt about that.
Okay, may I chip in here or chirp in?
Yeah, go ahead.
As a casting director, what I would like you to do when you're doing the business portion, in other words, your name, hands, profiles, whatever the casting director is asking for, I would strongly urge that you appear without your glasses. And as soon as you get into the script portion, put them on. A lot of people will wear contact lenses if at all possible, but you seem to be very comfortable because this is a part of your personality. So I would do it without the glasses for the business. And then as soon as you start delivering the script, put them on because that's who you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joan Deschamps?
Yes, Desha. Hello. Thank you all for Donice for sponsoring this or hosting it, and the agents that are helping us here.
Are you represented by Acclaim?
No,
Oh my God, Jason!
Come on.
Jason, you missed
Jason
somebody.
show.
First
Hip
time.
pocketed.
I am not represented. I am non-union, and I'm going to be looking for representation pretty soon here. But my question is, I've been getting some auditions through Actors Access and through Backstage, and the contract talent release forms I often don't know what to do because they'll put in there in perpetuity.
No.
Right. So at the risk of losing the gig, I've been crossing it out. I've just started to use my voice a bit about it, and it's been, the fates have been smiling on me, and I've still managed to hang on to some gigs with that. But I was just wondering if that was the right thing to do, and I mean, I guess that's the question.
Well, I've never heard of anybody being able to cross out a clause in a contract and it being held up because that's just not legal. But first and foremost, don't do anything that says in perpetuity. That means forever. Agents, your comments.
We don't work on, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, of course, you want to stay away from anything in that respect. You don't want to get stuck and then and then not be able to participate in another project that has some kind of conflict. It's just not good to do that at all.
All right.
In Houston, they release these Logitech auditions that are like, they pay you like 150 or 250 bucks for the job, but it's exclusive for technology.
Oh,
which means that you
Oh.
are locked out of Dell, HP, AMD,
Mm-mm.
Samsung, and Apple for as long as they run that project. And they didn't pay you anything for that.
No.
What we're talking about is the value of your image. Your image has value. When you sign up to do a Pepsi spot and they pay you for exclusivity, what they're paying for you for is to not do Coke.
right.
Right.
It's not
Right.
just in Pepsi. It's to not do Coke.
Right. Yeah,
So
we don't.
When you
Yeah.
give yourself away for $150,
Right.
you're cheapening the value of all
Everybody.
for one
Right.
thing, and their images. But also you're blocking yourself from future jobs.
Mhm.
Heather, did you have a comment?
Oh, I have lots of comments, but yeah, no, we don't. No, we perpetuity it's a non-starter, and
Yeah,
it's
forget it.
and again, like if I would assume that anyone who is on this Zoom is someone that is really trying to pursue a professional acting career, and as such, you just it's shooting yourself in the foot to be working on those types of projects. And I applaud you for having the gumption to cross
Right.
it out and just be like, no, because we do that. And again, like we are, and sometimes it's even challenging for us as agents to get, oh my God. I mean, to get releases before our talent gets on a shoot, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It is
It's
ridiculous. Yes.
unfathomable to me. And when then we're like, okay, well, this doesn't work. And people are horrified. And I'm like, well, then you should have gotten it to us yesterday.
Before.
Like, I mean, we've been asking for it for a week, this
Mhm.
release. And so, and again, like, sometimes again, like I know there's chaos with productions and stuff, and that people don't always have, are not trying to be deceitful, but it is incredibly important to read those contracts and releases. You cannot just sign things and not pay attention. It's and again, it's when you are represented, it's our job, but when you're out on your own, you've got to continue to do what you're doing.
Mhm.
And I do want to add one comment. In perpetuity doesn't mean for as long as it's running. In perpetuity means for the rest of your life. So no matter how long you live, you are precluded from doing any conflict, as Jason was pointing out, the various conflicts with any type of a technology company. And they might run it for 2 years, and 5 years later, they start running it again.
They bring it back.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Or
So
they put it on a billboard, or
Right,
like for
exactly.
something totally different. And it's like, no, you cannot do that. So
That's right. So you've got to really protect yourself. There's a comment from Jamie's phone. Let's keep our questions short so we can get more in, please. Jamie,
You're muted.
Jamie, you're cute, but we can't hear you.
Hi, I'm here. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Both of my kids are actually represented with Laura and Heather with Collier Talent. Yay!
Yay!
First time to see you in person.
Yes.
And it was a godsend that I was on this call today because I had an issue in perpetuity on set today, and Laura saved our butt. So thank you for that. And I just happened to see that this mixer was going on tonight, and this has been just great information.
What is your question, please?
Yes, sorry about that. So my question is, after these self tapes, when they were in person, I know they get to see the kids, and we write the thank yous, all that, so that they develop that relationship. What's your best advice how to, after you don't hear anything after, how do you continue to thank that casting director or keep your kid's face or the actor, in their thoughts? What's your feedback for that?
Heather?
Is that directed to me?
Anybody, it's out there. Just some thoughts.
I mean, I think that's one of the challenging parts of the pandemic, is first of all, I mean, like you can send emails, I think, but I do think in the last couple of years, we have kind of lost that connection. Also because, there's a lot of people working from home and casting, I mean, and I'm not, with all the love in the world, I'm not giving you all my home address. You know what I mean? So like, and so I casting directors feel the same way. It's like email is great, but again, it's you're lacking that connection. So what I would encourage and hopefully is opportunities like this, where you can be face to face with people. If there are online workshops or opportunities with panels to meet people in the community, I take advantage of those. When things go back in person, to again network and be out there. And I think we just have to be a little bit more creative until things get back to, I hesitate to say normal, but yeah, it's challenging. You can't do you do emails, but like, again, some of those emails just get lost in the shuffle for me because I'm on the computer all day long doing work emails.
One thing that I would like to add to that is postcards. I think it's really great for people to have postcards with their headshot and their agency or a cell phone, and send a postcard every, maybe month, 6 weeks or something. And it doesn't matter if it says Happy National Dill Pickle Week.
Right.
It matters. You've got your face and your name in front of me again.
Here's the problem is that people are not working in offices. So they're not giving out their home addresses.
No,
you know
but
what I mean?
Like we've got post office boxes. We've got other ways of receiving mail. So I think the email is easier to dispose of than it is to receive an actual postcard. Agents, I have to tell you, it is just about 2 minutes. I have 1 minute after 8. We promised you until 8 o'clock. Are you willing to go for, say, another half hour?
I could probably do another 10 to 15.
Yeah, probably about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
then,
sorry.
Whenever you listen, thank you a million times over for your appearance tonight. And whenever you need to leave, just hit leave. And we will miss you, and we will
Nobody
thank you in
be
advance.
offended. Sorry.
Nobody get offended. Is there a question from Abby?
Yes, hi, I'm Abby Killen. I'm not with Acclaim. I'm with Danette Linnecomb in Dallas. And I just had a question in terms of marketing yourself. I know that's often a very popular topic, and I know we all have different aspects of our personality to share. And I've gotten more into how I dress and really thinking about that in my self-tapes and really enjoy that process. But I wanted to ask you all, have something memorable that your talent has done that you were like, wow, that's cool, that's memorable, and like, in what ways do you see people bringing out their personality, whether in how they dress for their headshots, or is it glasses, and what do you think works best?
I'm not sure this is answering the question, but when our talent gets...
잘하고 있어요.
Jinyu, your mic, can you move?
It's okay. He got it.
Claudia was answering.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just again, like bringing personality. So when our talent gets an audition, they will usually call like, well, how should I dress? They ask me certain questions, just to give them some tips maybe. And so with a little bit of discussion, especially what I try and tell them is, really, who is the client? So we try and go back and kind of walk through what the clients, maybe past commercials, maybe we'll review some. And usually, like if it's Dell, it's kind of the same, they're looking kind of for the same look or the same vibe. I'm not sure if this is answering your question. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of messages here. Goodness. So we just try and bring that out again. It's your personality, be unique in who you are, but still trying to kind of address what the client is looking for in that respect, but not like what Jason was talking about. You still want to be unique. You still need to show who you are, but still kind of falling in those parameters. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, for sure. Different vibes and styles, and yeah, still be.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to Alan.
You're muted.
Hello, I got it. No, I'm not. Hey, everybody, I'm Alan Cohen. I'm with Acclaim. Hi, Jason.
How's it going, brother?
Good. Great forum. Great to see everybody again. Right before the pandemic started, I attended my first one of these down in South Austin. It was great fun. And then it got quiet for a long time. So the question I have is, I entered into this business not just about 3 months before the pandemic started. So great timing, industry crusher here. Thank you. And I got into it. I got into it as a voiceover talent specifically. But then when I was, interviewing with different agencies, I was told that, you've got a good commercial look, you should consider doing some acting. So I've been doing a lot of work trying to get acting jobs on camera, and doing the self-taping has been a challenge for me, as it may have been, and sounds like it has been for everybody. But I often see audition requests and things that say it's a good idea to have a video demo clip in addition to your voiceover clips. I don't have one, and I don't have any work to really show or assemble anything, but just like when I entered a voiceover arena, I had to go create my own. Is that something that the agents would recommend or suggest that talent have video clips? And if so, how would you go about making that happen if you don't have a body of work to draw from?
I would say, yes, it's valuable to have it, but no, don't try to create it out of nowhere.
Right.
Because generally those sorts of manufactured scenes, they don't really work. They don't function for what we need. Instead, think about, as you accumulate material, how can this material help me find other jobs? So each 15-second or 10-second clip of time of pre-existing material or material that you accumulate, what would this be for? How would this get me other jobs? What are they looking for that this applies to? So like a demo reel, a good demo reel doesn't simply have to do with your face and your dialogue. It's also your reactions. It's got to have responses, because that's an important aspect of what acting is, and what your part in most scenes are going to be. So like a lot of the LA actors, they'll start off with a commercial reel and a film reel, and then they will divide that into a film reel that is dramatic and comedic, and then they will have 15-second clips. This is me as a doctor. This is me as a lawyer. This is me as whatever. And each one of those elements is for, to some degree, a different purpose. You're trying to convince with your mass reel that you can do all these things, but with your little video clip of you being a doctor, it's 15 seconds to show that casting director that you make sense as a doctor. Just that. Just convincing you, there's you on camera doing the thing. Because they don't believe in that yet. And once they believe in that, then they have to talk themselves out of it when they look at your resume or whatever. And talking yourself out of something is a lot harder than talking yourself into something. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you very much.
Well said.
Jason. Next, we're going to move over to Michael.
Oh, hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I saw somebody before me. Yes, I'm Michael Benitez. I'm also represented by Acclaimed Talent. Hey, Jason. Um, this is a question for actually all of the agents here. Is it more difficult for like in the business today, despite of Nine Strangers, is it more difficult for an actor with size to get opportunity? So, you know, a bigger actor, someone who's bigger in size as a person, do you feel that it's a harder, they don't have as many opportunities as many other actors?
It just
Heather?
it puts you in a
Okay, Jason?
oh, sorry. The thing is that you can't expect that every role is going to be chosen is that. So right now what you're up against is preconceived notions and how people perceive casting a particular situation. Like you say, a group of people. You may be comedy, you know, like quirky comedy guy. Until somebody defines outside of that realm, most people that are casting are going to see within that realm. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the techie nerd in a procedural. It started out as a white guy who stammers a lot, and then it changed, and it became a punky chick, and then it became the cosplay girl, and then there was the Asian girl who was cosplay, and then there was the black guy that had the afro and glasses and was intelligent. And all those things grew out of that initial role, right? And it grew because people were able to accept all these other people in that role.
I'm just
So
going
it's
to
not
check.
often up to us to describe or to define what those things are. To some degree, you're going in and as an actor, you are trying to bring your personality to that situation such that they can't live without you. They see that role as being interchangeable with who you are. So you've got to change the playing field to some degree.
Jason, I'm going to interrupt just for a second. Heather?
All I was going to say is that, look, you know, I think you have in the world of film and television, there's a lot more range and flexibility in terms of, you know, thinking outside the box for a character. You know, I mean, there's a lot of times where it depends on the story that they're telling and the specificity of it. And whereas in commercials, I find it far less flexible in those ways because
Yes.
commercials are strictly based on stereotypes, and that's truly, and it's, you know, again, I don't need to get into a whole discussion about what that's all about, but that's, you know, marketing, and they're that's their whole game, is to make assumptions and then kind of then market to those assumptions that are made. And that's, so in commercials, I find that there is less opportunity to think outside the box and say, hey, well, why couldn't this, you know, this plus size person play this role? Well, because, you know, and then they're gonna, you know, statistically, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whereas when you're talking about film and television and characters, we have seen in recent years that a lot of sort of boundaries have been broken in those ways. So that's what is, I think, is exciting and different. But I don't see that commercial game, because that's just not the nature of what commercials are. Might not be a popular opinion, but that's my opinion.
Heather, thank you so much for joining.
Can I
know
say
you've gotta
something real
go.
quick?
So I just wanted to say thank you very, very much for joining us. And I love you. Thank you, honey.
Love you too.
Okay.
Thank you, Heather.
And
I'm gonna let Claudia talk. and then
Thanks,
I'll-
Claudia, did you have something to add?
Well, I was just gonna say, kind of after the fact, anybody who, if you were to get an audition, or if you were to get an audition, sometimes I have talent, and it's still kind of shocking to me when they'll call and they say they're not right for the role. And so what I want to say to that, or they feel like they don't fit. And what I'm trying to say is that if you're a talent and you're trying to work, don't put, I feel like some people put limitations and boundaries and kind of their own self-imposed, I can't do that. So I just want to throw that out there. We do present, a big range of what they're looking for casting. So if you get an audition, you just need to, again, going back to the same thing, show your personality. Just bring something to the table that's uniquely you, and let them see that. And you just need to shine, and they will see that.
That is so true. And thank you very much,
Thank you.
Claudia. Do you have to go now?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so very much. I
Bye,
love you
y'all.
for being and doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hi, Claudia.
Yeah. Thank you.
And,
Good seeing everybody.
Thanks, honey.
I can't wait
next
till we can do
week-
this in person again.
Oh, I know. One of these days. Next, we have a question from Michelle.
Hi, everybody. Michelle Carlesi. Thank you for letting me ask something. I was just curious on what are the best places to expose talent? Is it open mic, stand-up, improv, or the theater? What's the best place to, showcase and invite casting directors? I'm just curious.
Jason?
Ooh, to invite casting directors.
I think theater.
I don't know.
Theater.
It could be any of those. It depends on what the casting director's into.
Yeah. I think theater because it means somebody thought you could act. You only get one take. And so theater is very important. Most of the casting directors that I know, one of the things that they focus on in the resume is theater. So.
Well, I just think going back to the last question, and I think it kind of applies here, is like what you are trying to do is bring a good option to the casting director's table so they can present that to their client. It's not necessarily going to be the end all be all everything for them, but each individual brings something new to the table or something valuable to the table. And so that's what you're trying to do, essentially, is give them an option that is different from the other ones. And that the best way to do that is to come from who you are. Because that is essentially the most unique thing about you, is who you are.
It's true. It's very true. We have a question from Brandy.
Hello, everyone, and greetings from Seattle, Washington. I miss you all terribly. I am represented by an awesome guy who has always taught us to run away from that perpetuity word. Yes. And also to go in and let them tell you that you are not right for the role. So just remember that. And my quick question is, I would like to know from both agents and casting directors, if you all are seeing more, less, or about the same when it comes to SAG-AFTRA projects. I am, of course, still represented by Acclaim, even though I'm here, but of course, I'm no longer protected by Texas, so I am now, well, I'm a SAG actor, and I'm proud of that, but just wanting to know if you guys have seen more or less of those jobs coming through.
In my experience, it's about 70-30 non-union to union right now, and it hasn't changed all that much. There's definitely an uptick in terms of work, like in terms of overall auditions, but most of that seems to be driven by non-union first. Now, I will say this, in a year, we're gonna have a new studio open up here, and Netflix and HBO are tied to that new studio, So with that will come a certain level of SAG influx of work. But for the most part, as the work has risen, so too has the same percentages, which is basically 70-30 non-union to union.
Thank
Okay,
you for that.
And next we have Jennifer.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. I'm not currently represented right now. I'm non-union and I'm actually applying for agencies. As a developing actor, I want to make a good first impression with an agent. What would be your best advice other than, I'm currently taking classes, and what are the best resources to research?
For Mike, the answer is yes. He just chimed in on the text and I can't respond to that. For as far as the resources for you, there are a few things. If you're just trying to build resume, you have Short Film Texas, the Texas Film Commission website, Dan's List, which is Dan Eggleston. Dan Eggleston, you can find him on the austinactors.net site.
Oh, wait. It's Austin Film Casting at io.groups or at groups. Yeah, io.groups. Don't test me at this hour of night.
But yeah,
I always call it Dan's List, so I hear what
for
you're saying.
building your own resume and for getting jobs on your own. Beyond that, it's a lot of the jobs are only available through agencies. Like what you see on Actors Access is low pay, no pay projects, theater and that sort of thing. What we see is Marvel films and Walker, Texas Ranger, and that kind of thing. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes. I guess I just want to, I guess I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, looking on Google, YouTube, like videos from backstage to understand more of the business side of acting and not being so clueless about, certain terminology. And it's a lot on the internet.
There's no like manual for this world.
Right.
Like, I've repped award nominated at like literally Academy Award nominated actors who had no clue as to anything basic about this industry. Outside of that, they showed up at an audition one day, that they booked a role, and that they got recognition for it. That was it. So don't assume that number one, don't assume that you have all the information, because you don't. This is decades worth of information.
Jennifer,
decades of self.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Decades of like finding things on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just continue to grow and try to learn what you can and bring more to the table, and then expect that there's a lot that you just don't know and that other people will hopefully fill you in, like an agent or a manager or whatever.
Jennifer, at the risk of sounding self-serving, I wish you would contact me. I teach a class for people that need to know all the basics of headshots, resumes, how to get an agent, how to keep an agent. That's what I do for a living, in addition to casting. So you really ought to contact me and I can give you some more information. James, we have a question from you.
Yes, I would like to know how to take that class as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Bless your heart.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to do this, but you can contact me at my website, which is www.acastingplace.net. Or you can email me at Denise@acastingplace.net. I think I'm pretty easy to find. And
Okay.
what, did you have another question, James?
Yes, my question was because I don't got representation right now, and I was just wanting to know how to gain representation and what would be, I guess, the best steps and what y'all are looking for.
Jason?
That always depends. I mean, it's a from time to time sort of situation because it's based partially on what we already have and what we're looking for.
Right.
So some of that is a synthesis of the market itself and what we have and who we have that is already on a lineup. Because I don't want to stand in the way of the success of an existing person. At the same time, I don't want to put people in boxes. So it can depend. It's always changing. So what I would suggest is just start sending submissions to different agencies and start seeing how they respond. Because even if I reject you for representation, if you follow up with me, I will be glad to give you any sort of information you need to help you get representation with somebody else or with me down the road so that you understand why it is that we passed on you. Because in a lot of cases, it doesn't necessarily have to do with whether or not you did a good job or a bad job. It may just have to do with I'm serving an existing set of people, and right now I have to focus on them. So that's not a complaint about what you did, but you have to be willing to follow up. Like some of the actors that I've had the best relationship with are people that I've rejected initially because they went to the trouble, they had the bravery to come back to me and say, hey, why did you pass on me? And could I do another take? Or could I take a class and then come back? Don't be afraid to ask. All we can do is say no.
Bingo. That's a great answer. I love that. What's the worst thing that can happen? Somebody says no. Oh, well, sheesh. Do we have any other questions? Judy, are we through?
That's it.
That's it? Well, Jason, thank you so much. I love you as a human being, but I think you're a fabulous agent. All three of our guests tonight were absolutely fantastic. And I keep seeing all these messages saying, wow, this was great. Thank you so much. And it's really wonderful. It'll be a while before we can get out there in person. So please join us and join the Network Austin Mixer. It's free. And we can send you all the information on a monthly basis. Gary, thank you so much. Judith, I never saw Judith joining us tonight. And Tootie, you are fabulous. Thank you so much. We could not do this without you. So we greatly appreciate you and what you do for us. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Is Gary here? Gary, do you want to say
Great night,
something?
y'all.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jason.
thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, agent. And thank you,
Thank you so
Donnie.
much.
Bye,
That was wonderful.
everyone.
And
Great moderator, Donnie. Great job.
Thank you, Brandy.
Bye-bye.
Texas. Love you, Acclaimed.
Donnie,
See you
thank you
next
so
month.
much. And you kept things moving and got lots of information in tonight. So thank you. That really well done.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tell all your friends about us. Go to Facebook, look us up, go to the internet, look us up, join, and you too can be a member of our free mailing list.
Oh, I know. I've been writing it all down in my handy dandy notebook.
Oh, good.
So, yes.
Gary, want to close out for us?
I just wanted to say extreme thank you to the agents. Thank you, Donise. Thank you, Tootie. And thank you all for attending. We had a nice attendance tonight. It was very informative, very helpful. Check us out next month. We appreciate it very much. All of you, God bless. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.